Hi guys, it's Steph here from the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to apologise for two things. One, the lights, and two, if you hear anything coming from outside of my apartment building, because in about 30 minutes there is going to be a giant parade walking down the main street and I have to film now and I have to film 2 videos or this is going to get a little bit weird. Today I am here with my books beside my bed video. For those of you who are new to my channel, I do a weekly wrap up of my reading each week and I give you a few stats and my thoughts on the books that I've been reading. This is my reading week from the 11th to the 17th of March. I read 2 books and continued my read along for Frankenstein, so that was my 3rd book and I read 52 pages of that. For the other 2 books, I read 662 pages and my yearly reading total is up to 41 books. For those of you who are interested in my Frankenstein thoughts, I will have that video up on Friday, and I also have the previous 2 installments up on my channel, so you can check those out if you're interested. The first book that I read this week is A Tyranny of Petticoats, edited by Jessica Spotswood. This was released in 2015 by Candlewick Press. This is a short story collection of wonderful women from across America from frontier times until about the 1960s. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because on average that's probably what the stories were about for me. There were some that I absolutely adored and some that were just okay for me, but all of them featured really wonderful, strong female characters. I think I had trouble connecting with a lot of them because I am not American, so the history sort of stuff doesn't necessarily connect with me directly, but I still found it really interesting. There are a whole host of authors in here, most of whom I didn't know, but some that I did, like Marie Lu and Marissa Meyer. And there are definitely a few authors who I will be looking for their other works because I found them really, really interesting. All of the female characters in this story are super strong. You have girls who are fighting for their family, you have girls who are fighting for their independence, you have girls who are standing up for what they believe in, you have women of colour, you have diverse sexual preferences, and it was just absolutely wonderful. For those of you who are interested, my favourite short story was El Destinos by Leslie Walton, and there is a reason because the opening of it was absolutely beautiful. It says, "Folks around here like to say we came from the stars. Perhaps it's simpler to think of us not as human but as creatures made of stardust. That if you cut us, not blood but constellations will pour from our wounds. And although I've never admitted to such a thought to my sisters, when I stand under the night sky with the infinite heavens stretched out above me like a shroud, it's hard to imagine we came from anywhere else." That is gorgeous. I loved the short story. Definitely the highlight for me. The second book that I read this week was Where by Meg Caddy. This was published in 2016 by Text Publishing. It is a Lover's Way story, and this was shortlisted last year in the older readers category for the CBCA Awards. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars because the writing was pretty solid, but there were quite a few things that really just didn't sit with me, and I'm going to talk about them as I talk about the plot. So it's set in a strange world, which I didn't really quite get a grasp on because I just don't think the world building was there. The writing was beautiful, but the world, I couldn't picture it. A girl escapes from a prison town where she has been held captive and tortured, and she is found by a farming family of basically werewolves, people who can turn into wolves. They nurse her back to health, and then her captors come down and attack the family, and she is forced to go on the run with the oldest son from that family, and they have to strike an unlikely alliance, and it is then up to them to save the rest of the world from this, strange, powerful guy who held her captive. It's basically the summary of the story in very poor terms. I struggled with this because it has all those lovely things that high fantasy books does, which is complicated worlds and very strange, hard to pronounce names. And nothing pulls me out of a story than not being able to pronounce the names of places or the names of characters and not having a glossary to help me do that. So I really struggled with that. I didn't really connect with the characters. Parts of it went by quite quickly and were quite well put together, but then other parts of it dragged, and yeah, it was about the last 50 pages that I enjoyed the most because that was where the biggest action sequence was. But the twists that happened were quite predictable and I saw most of them coming, which is saying something for me because I never pick up on anything. So on the whole, it was a pretty average reading week for me, 3 stars for both of them, but that's not a bad thing. It just means they were good reads, but hopefully next week will be better. In the comments down below, let me know what you have been reading this week. I hope that you have had a great reading week. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.